We'll move to some other politics now. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is considering unilaterally appointing a second anti-Trump Republican, Congressman Adam Kinzinger of Illinois, to the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riot. That's according to two officials familiar with ongoing discussions who spoke with the New York Times. When asked by NBC News if she thinks Kinzinger would be a good member of the committee, the speaker said, quote, "Everybody else does." She added that as a veteran, quote, his service is considered, of course, as an asset in what we have to do next. But she would not say whether she'd appoint him. Emerging from a meeting with Speaker Pelosi, Select Committee Chair Benny Thompson confirmed that Kinzinger is being considered.
I think his reputation speaks for itself from all indications. He's a fine representative. He's in his district and state loving, and that's the kind of person we'd want to have on this committee.
A source tells NBC News former Virginia Congressman Denver Riggleman, who's been outspoken in his criticism of former President Donald Trump, may become an advisor to help staff the committee. NBC News caught up with Riggleman as he approached a meeting with the speaker.
Are you serving on the committee?
Well, I'll do it.
So, Jonathan Lemire, let's kind of get an update on where all of this stands, what this committee exactly would be able to do. Republicans have been talking about having their own committee. Does this muddy the waters? And also, I mean, it does, I think it's fair that you don't want someone on the committee that you would then be bringing as a witness to testify as to what happened that day and what their actions were that day. And that could be some problems for key Republicans.
Sure. I think that's the point that House Speaker Pelosi is making, but Republicans, of course, are objecting to that. So first of all, the Pelosi's committee has their first hearing on Tuesday. So there's our timeline. So if Congressman Kinzinger is going to be appointed, and certainly there seems to be momentum going that way, according to our reporting, it'll be done between now and then. And what we're likely looking at, though, is the Republicans holding their own, if not full-fledged investigation, but at least will be issuing some sort of report at the end of it, which is clearly meant as a distraction to try to muddy the waters, to try to make this that much a he said, she said, if you will, about what happened there. And there's no consensus on the truth. And we should never lose sight of the fact, Mika, that there isn't a bipartisan commission, a September 11th bipartisan commission about what happened on January 6th, solely because the Republicans in the Senate voted it down. Had that been approved, we would be spared all of this political jockeying over the Select Committee, and we'd have a bipartisan commission that could take its time and really do a deep dive into what happened, again, akin to what we saw after September 11th. But that's gone. And now this has become that much more political, that much more representative of the purely partisan, the broken partisanship in the nation's capital, particularly over January 6th, with Republicans trying as best they can to turn the page, to put up distractions, and to move forward with their eyes on next year's midterms.
Gene, we have to underline, and we can't say it enough, as we've been saying this week, why we got here. And that is because Mitch McConnell and Senate Republicans said no. They voted down the idea of a bipartisan commission, an actual bipartisan commission like the 9/11 Commission, drove the Congress into a select committee. Nancy Pelosi is the speaker. She establishes the committee. She picked who she was going to pick, and Kevin McCarthy knew by putting Jim Jordan on the committee that was going to create some problems, which would allow him to say that Nancy Pelosi is being unfair and won't accept our. It's theatrical. It's all theater, and so now we're in this place where Republicans, whatever the conclusions from the Select Committee, even if Adam Kinzinger is on there, they'll say, well, of course he and Liz Cheney want to look into this because they're partisan and they voted to impeach Donald Trump. We're right back in our partisan lanes on a question that demands clear-eyed, nonpartisan analysis of what happened on that terrible day, even as more videos come out every day showing the truth about what happened.
Right. I mean, first of all, we should recognize and say that Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger are partisan Republicans. They are Republicans to the bone. They are not Democrats. So and I know they will be accused of being Democrats by the House Republicans because that's what they do. You know, it is all theater, as you said. It is all that's all the House Republicans are doing, putting Jim Jordan on the committee. committee in his shirt sleeves, put on a coat, putting Banks on the committee who announced that he wanted to investigate the response of the Biden administration, which did not exist on January 6th. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And McCarthy had to know it was ridiculous, and that Nancy Pelosi would call him on it because she doesn't play. Look, there is theater happening on the Republican side. There is an official committee of the House of Representatives that will, in an official capacity, investigate what happened on January 6th. And that's really what we should pay attention to, and that's what we should make clear when the Republicans try to muddy the waters, when they try to make it he said, she said. It's not he said, she said. It's there's a committee and there's a sideshow, and we should treat the sideshow for what it is.